All right, now we are looking at this. KISSING. You said, sorry, excuse me, teacher. Excuse me, Snell. We have seen this problem before. Yes, we did. This is the problem that we saw before, and this is the new problem. What's the difference between them? Do you see any difference between these two? New and old, new and old. Do you see the difference? Yes? The new one has got 1.9 version, all right? And what does the 1.9 version mean? What does that mean to you? Okay. All right. See, the description is all the same. What's the difference? This is 2-line version, and then the input has 2 lines. The first line is the girl's name. The second line is the boy's name. This is the girl's name. This is the boy's name. This is the old one. The new one is like this. The girl's name and the boy's name are all in one line with the space in between. Do you see the difference? And that makes it very, very annoying for a Python programmer. Why is that? You try this. The R is equal to inputs. And then we have Sally. We have Sally and McQueen all together in one line. And now we have this R of one string, right? But how do you put this Sally in front of and this McQueen after and? How do you do that? We have to split it into 2 names, is that right? We have to split it. How do we split it? You have to use a function called splits. There is a function called splits. And how do you use that? You just say splits R, it will split it for you. But this time it says splits is not defined. There's no splits defined. There's some possibilities. The first thing is that Snell is lying to you. There's no splits function. And Snell is lying to you, which is not the case. I'm not a liar. I'm not going to lie to you. When I told you there's a splits function, there will be a splits function. I'm not lying to you. Or the second thing might be happening is that Snell misspelled the function. See how poor Snell's spelling is. He always misspells the word. So he might be misspelling. There might be a spelling error in there. But let me tell you, split is exactly the spelling of splits. There's no mistake about it. And what is wrong with it? What is wrong with it? In Python, you have to tell Python where is this function defined in? What module is this function defined in? So you have to specify this split function is actually defined in a module called str. And you have to use a dots right here. Only dots, not comma, not semicolon, not colon, not hashtag, not anything else. You have to put a dot right here. So when you say str dot splits, you are telling Python interpreter that this split function is actually defined in a module called str. Please go to module str to find the splits for me and then do the job for me, like this. All right? Do you see that Sally is split into one string? McQueen is split into another. So one string is now split into two strings. Can you see that? Can you see that? However, there's another problem. That doesn't really solve my problem. A function or an operator can only have one return value. If you think that's annoying, you can move to somewhere in the back or someone who's not coming if you really think that's too bad for you. Okay. All right. What? You want to move together with her? Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. A function or an operator can only have one return value. Only one return value. Where did I say that? Evaluate expressions, return the value. Did I say anything about return value? Oh, right here, return the value. Okay? Only one return value. But when one string is split into two strings, you won't be able to return two strings. So, do you see that there are a pair of square brackets right here? Python, the splits function actually pack these two strings inside a pair of square brackets and make it into a list. That's what we call in Python a list. A list is actually a collection. A collection, a set, a collection of things. All right? So when we have these two square brackets, actually we pack these two strings into one list. Do you know what I'm talking about? Pack two strings into one list. Do you know what I'm talking about here? No? Yes? Those who understand me, please raise your hand. Those who don't, please raise your hand. That's fine. All right. Who have answered my question today? Nobody, because you guys don't. Did anybody raise any question? No? All right, then for you then. I will give you only one prize. Only one. But you would like three. What do we do now? You would like to have 3 lollipops. Three. You really want 3. Why? Because you want them. But I can only give you one prize. So what do we do? So you take only one? Let me show you something. He really wants 3. He really wants 3 lollipops. But that's against the rule. Ah! It's okay. Leave it there. But that's against the rule because the rule says I can only give him one prize. One prize. So what do we do now? That's easy. I got a little bag right here. Let's put 3 into the bag. Now that's one prize. Okay? So I can give you one prize like this. Yes, you can. But you need to give that back to me later, okay? You can keep the lollipops, but I will keep the bag, all right? Okay, that's only for demonstration. Do you get the idea? You can only have one return value for splits. But actually, I want to get two strings back from splits. So how did splits do it? The splits actually pack these two strings inside a list and give the list back to me. Do you know what I'm talking about now? Okay? So there's another problem I want to. So actually, this is one list. But inside this list, there are two strings. Do you know what I'm talking about here? All right. Now, let me ask you a question. If I want to see R, is R a string, just one string, or a list of two strings? Actually, R is still one string right now. If you want to save that list, you need to save it into a variable like this. S is equal to str dot split the str, like that. And then you will save the list returned by the splits function into a variable called S. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Okay. Then, oops, I'm sorry. What is wrong? Oh, okay, I mistyped it. This should be R right there. All right. Now we split the string R, and the splits will return a list to S, and then we save the list to S. Now R is still one string. Still one string. But the S will be a list of two strings. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Any question? But I still have my problem unsolved. Why is that? I would like to put Sally in front of and. I would like to put Sally in front of and McQueen after and. But splits have packed these two strings in one list, right? How can I put the list, part of the list in front of list and end, and part of the list after end? How can I do that? How can I do that? There's no way I can do that. I would like to put this string Sally in front of n and put this McQueen after n. How do I do that? I need to access the item inside the list. Do you know what I'm talking about? How do we do that? Let me explain it in a concept of a math concept, all right? A math concept. If there's a series of A, well, I need to make it a lot bigger so that you can see better. If there's a series of A, do you know what a series is? What a series is? A series. A series. Like what? Like 1, 4, 7, 11, no, 10, is a equal difference series. Do you know what I'm talking about? What kind of series is that? (13). That is a series. If A is equal to this series, this is a series. Do you know what I'm talking about? What kind of series is that? This is a equal difference series. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. Okay. If there's a series we call A, how do you specify the first item of A? How do you say the first item of A? A1. Good job. A1. No, just like that. Just like that. Okay, a smaller one and lower one, right? Like this. Is that what you are talking about? Okay, that's the A1. That's the first item. First item of this series. Any question? Okay. We call this a subscript. We call this a subscript. But that's in Chinese. Let me type it for you. We call it a subscript. All right? That is a subscript. A subscript in math is used for specifying a specific item in a collection. All right? But in Python, how do I specify which item that I want to use? If I want to use the first item of this list, how do I specify that? Can I just say S1 like that? Can I? I need to make this one smaller and lower, right? No. There's no way you can do it in Python like that. You can only do it in Word, not the Python. So how do you do the subscripts in Python? How? We use square bracket again. So that's S1. That's the S1. This one will be turned into a subscript. Do you know what I'm talking about here? So when I hit enter, what will you see? What will you see when I hit enter? You will see Sally, right? But you see McQueen instead. Why is that? Because in Python, the subscript starts with 0. If you want Sally, you need to say S0 right here. Now that's Sally. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Any question? All right. If you have this idea, we can actually get that 100 right now. How do we do it? We can actually get that 100. We can have this R is equal to input. I need to hurry. Can I have like 10 more minutes to teach you? Can I just 10 more minutes? Can I? Okay. All right, here. We have R for inputs. We have R for inputs, and then we split R into 2 strings. We split R into 2 strings like this, all right? Any question? No. And then we print girl's name and boy's name and sitting in the tree. Now that's the answer. If you save it and run it and type Sally and McQueen, and then you will see that Sally and McQueen sitting in the tree. That's the right answer. Do you know what I'm talking about? And it's 3 minutes after 3. I still have 7 minutes. All right. Because I'm not satisfied with this. First, I have to specify which module that split is defined in. So it have to be in front of splits. We have to say str dot. That means splits is defined in the module of str, right? Any question? Okay, but I have a question for you. Why didn't we have to specify where input is defined? Why didn't we have to specify where print is defined? Why is that? Why is the split? Why only splits need to specify it is defined in str? Why? That's because there's a idea. We call it built-in functions of Python. Built-in functions. Built-in means it's built inside and they are always available. And there are 69 built-in functions, include the first function that we have taught called print, right here. Do you see that? Do you see the second function that we have taught called input, right here? Do you see that? Does that include the third function that we have taught called help, right there? Do you see that? Do you see the fourth function that we have taught of int? Where is int? Right here. Do you see that? Yes. They are all built-in functions, so you don't have to specify where it is defined. Do you know what I'm talking about? But can you see splits anywhere in here? SPLIT. This is SL. This is SO. This is ST. Do you see SP? So the reason behind it is that splits is not a built-in function. So you have to specify where it is defined. Do you know what I'm talking about? All right? Okay, that's the first problem. The second problem is that, did I tell you that the input function always return a string to you? Did I tell you that? Yes, I did. And then that means R is always a string, right? So I can just put R right here. Because R is a string, so Python will find this string, this split function inside of str module, because R is a str object. Do you know what I'm talking about? And since we have R objects right here, we don't need that R right here. Okay, but you don't delete this pair of parentheses. And I told you why. Okay, you still have to keep it there. And also, this input, the value of this input is saved in R And then we use this R to split, to be splitted. And can we just put input right there and without saving in R first? Can we do that? Can we do that? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So this will be a more concise way of doing it. All right? A more concise way of doing it is we do the input dot splits. So now I will conclude three ways of using inputs. The first way is simply put input right there, okay? And second thing is, if you need to do some mathematical operations, and then you need to convert the return value into an integer. Then you need to put the input. You need to put this input inside the int function to convert the results into an integer and save it in n. Okay, that's the second way of using input. And the third way of using input is this one. We have S is equal to input, then dash splits. That's the third way of using it. All right? In the future, when we have classes in the second semester, I will show you the fourth way. And that will cover, this four way of using inputs will cover 99% of the situations that you need to input data in Python. 99% of the cases. All right? But we only taught 3. There's the fourth one is not covered until the second semester when we have the regular class. And I will show you how. Is there any question? If not, I will let you have the last look of the answer. Like this. Okay? So, do you see the answer? Okay. 3, 2, 1, and now you need to do it yourself.